Do you ever wonder why sometimes your back hurts and sometimes it doesn't? Or why sometimes it hurts even when you don't injure or strain yourself too much? And the strangest and the most frustrating thing, why does nothing seem to work in reducing your back pain? Chronic back pain is very strange, and the things that work to heal chronic back pain can be even stranger. Most of us, when we hurt our back, we go to the doctor, right? And the doctor usually does all the doctory things. Check your file, look at you with contempt because you're not another divine being that went to med school, maybe ask you for two questions maximum, barely listen to you while you're talking, interrupt you, of course, and just shoot from the hip and come up with whatever sounds like is the right solution. In and out in 3 minutes, case closed, maybe you get some painkillers, and you probably get the vague feeling that you're not welcome in that doctor's office anymore. The painkillers may work for a while, they may not, but typically they do have at least a little effect. But like all painkillers, eventually they stop working. And then you're back again in the doctor's office. They're even more annoyed to see you again. And then you get the next recommendation from their list of generic solutions. And after that doesn't work, maybe you go back to the good doctor's office one more time, or maybe you even start seeking other doctors so that you can repeat the same cycle in their office. After repeating this for a few times, maybe even running out of experts and specialists in your area, you get this sort of like a strange epiphany. It seems like these doctors are not really helping you. Even after all the sterile waiting rooms and the experts and the specialists and their smug facial expressions and the scary sounding diagnosis, your back is still killing you. At that point, you find yourself at a fork in the road. There's two roads you can take. The road on your left, door number one, the blue pill, is giving up. You just can't do this anymore. Pain becomes your constant companion wherever you go. You're slowly getting more frustrated, angry, bitter. Maybe, probably you go for stronger and stronger painkillers, maybe even injections, maybe even surgery. You may even see a few other doctors because there's nothing else you can really do. But at this point, you don't really expect a lot from that. You've become the back pain guy or girl, and all that awaits for you in your future is pain and misery. The road on your right, which as the name suggests might be the right road, door number two, the red pill, is accountability. You start to realize that these doctors, even if they wanted to help you, which sadly is not the case in many cases for us, they can't. If you want to get better, you have to start taking things into your own hands. This is where you start reading, researching, running into all types of weird and crazy ideas, and of course, a huge number of scams. You start testing, measuring, experimenting, trying things out for yourself, and very, very, very slowly start to piece together something that might resemble a plan that's working for your back pain. And this is where the weirdest things start to happen. To your great surprise and shock, you find that the things that you least expected to work and sounded the craziest may actually be working the most. You start noticing some patterns. There's not always a simple, clear, immediate cause and effect relationship between things, but in the grand scheme of things, if you take a big picture look at it, some things they kind of make sense. And at that point, things making sense is not a top priority for you. You start noticing that you're feeling better, the pain is less and less, and that's all that starts to matter to you. Now look, this is not exactly how it's gonna play out for all of you. Some people will get better just by following doctor's orders. Sadly, Western medicine has a tough time with chronic conditions, especially chronic back pain. The stats are there, like a lot of people struggle with this problem needlessly, which means what happened to me is kind of likely to happen to you as well. You might go through all of the relevant doctors and specialists and you try everything that they recommend and nothing works. And then, as I mentioned, if you choose the right path and take responsibility for your actions, you will start experimenting with things that may even sound weird, but when you see them working, you're not going to be too concerned about that. And the things that work, well, they're not exactly crazy weird, I would say, but they're definitely not something that your typical average doctor is going to recommend. Okay, so what are these magical things that actually work? First of all, I wrote an entire free book on this. This is a completely free book. Check it out. The link to it is somewhere in the description or the pinned comment. It goes through all of my experience. I struggled with this for 12 years, believe it or not. You're gonna see everything that worked for me and that didn't work for me. And also you can see how you can craft a special custom-made strategy just for you and your life situation and context. And you wanna know what's the strangest thing that worked for me? And this is gonna deliver actually on the title of this video or what I said in the beginning. So you're probably not gonna believe this, especially if you're the type of person who's rational, logical. I myself, I'm a programmer. I've been writing code for a lot of time, for a big part of my career. That's what I do a lot. I problem solve. I'm actually a very skeptical person, and I also struggled with accepting that this may be the right path forward. And believe it or not, actually, one of the most powerful things that actually worked and reduced or even eliminated, I would say, my back pain is to get rid and solve your unresolved emotional and psychological issues. Some of you may have already heard this actually. Others, well, maybe your mind is like blown right now. This is something that is severely underestimated, in my opinion. Very few doctors will recommend this. I think there is a strong chance that if you're working with maybe a younger doctor who's not indoctrinated by all of the conventional Western medicine practice when it comes to chronic pain, there is a chance they may recommend something like this. They may recommend you talk to like a psychotherapist or a specialist of that sort. And I strongly suggest you take their advice if they're taking things in that direction. Okay, how can this be possible even? Like, how can your back hurt because of something that's in your head or maybe like in your body, in your emotions generally? I talk a lot about this in my other content. A relevant video that goes into the details should pop up somewhere around here above me. Definitely check that out if you're interested. But you can think of chronic pain as something that's stuck in your body emotionally, constantly. This is some sort of a tension that you've developed, maybe even in your childhood years, and that gets activated with maybe an injury or prolonged sitting. That's usually not the exact root cause, but that is something that will surface the problem. Let's take an example that a lot of us may resonate with. Let's say you have an angry dad. Dads, or fathers for the layman, you know, we love them, they're great, they go to work, hopefully, they come back home, they have a few beers, and occasionally they kind of would like to shout at the wife and the children. Now, as you grow up, hopefully you find this a little bit comical. I think there's relief in not taking this too seriously. But when you're small, when you're a small little child, this can sound like apocalyptic to you. This can be the end of the world. Your dad like screaming angrily at maybe directly at you or maybe at your mom or maybe just in the general void. When you're small, like a very good way to explain this is you kind of capture all of that anger. It gets like stuck in you. And there's even like a physical sensation related to this. Maybe you've forgotten about this, but let's say if you've had like an angry dad, you've probably felt like tense when you've heard the shouting and the screaming and all the rage. And that tension literally gets stored in your muscles. Usually it gets stored in the back. And then the pain, the tension just waits. It sits there in your body. You graduate, maybe you move out of your home, you find a job, and suddenly one day your boss starts yelling at you or someone else. And what do you know? A few days or a few weeks later, your back starts destroying, killing you. Without getting too psychological, I think the pattern starts to be recognized by your body. It resonates in a similar way. And eventually, at some point, your body thinks, okay, now is a good idea to let this person, this owner of this body know that this is not healthy anymore. We need to do something about it. But instead of having like epiphanies or insights or anything that would be rational, your body decides to manifest this pain as back pain. And yeah, I know this sounds a little bit out there, I had a lot of trouble digesting this and accepting this. The best way to know if this is the case for you, which is actually free and harmless, and I don't want to say easy, but you can do it, like everyone can do it, is to actually start working on this. You can work on releasing this all by your own. It's not even like that exotic or crazy or it requires some sort of special magical technique. I cover all of this in my book. You will find a lot of value there when it comes to addressing these issues in a simple way. If you can work with a professional, great. I think that can be like a really good path to take. But if you don't have access to a professional for whatever reason, I believe almost everyone can do this. This is actually a difficult job. It requires focus. It requires maybe even taking some time off and figuring these things out. But I promise you, once you do this, once you go through this work, there is a big chance that you will see a reduction in your back pain. So yeah, super weird, I know. I will talk more about this in other videos. I want to go into more depth here. If I have them published, they'll probably appear somewhere around as well. Go check them out. My name is Mate from Real Deal Heal. I want to help you heal. I want to help you feel better in your body, heal your back. So if you're struggling with these types of issues, it's probably a good idea to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Definitely share this with someone who's struggling with the same problems at all. If you have any questions or comments, the comment section is the place to go. Let me know what you think about that. Check out the free book. I think you're going to find a lot of value in there. And did I mention it's like completely free? So definitely take a look at that. Yeah, like weird stuff works sometimes. Stuff that's conventional and doctors recommend, sometimes it doesn't work. Stuff that you would never ever believe works turns out like, yeah, we're not exactly completely 100% rational beings. Things don't always work as we assume they should work. So check out the free book, check out my other content and videos. Until next time, this is Mate with Real Deal Heal. I hope you get better soon. Keep an open mind and be brave.